Welcome to my first Pokémon Infinite Fusion randomized hardcore nuzlock. For the starters, our options were Venosis, Mistoof, or Gooish. We went with Mistoof for the type coverage. Having 3 immunities from the get-go is fairly useful. So it's time for our first rival battle against the rival Glue. So Glue sent out the Venosis, and we are starting with Dave, the Mistoof. Went for a Spite first, forgot what it does, and we're followed up by Disable, which gets rid of the Spite. Can't use it again. And we'll go with Psywave to do a little bit of damage. Venosis is going to use Foresight so it can hit us with its Tackle, as we hit it again with another Psywave, getting it down to just above half. Tackle hits us, losing about a third of our HP, as we Psywave again to get it down really low. Another Tackle comes in before we hit it with another Psywave, finishing it off. And with that, our rival Glue challenges us to complete the gym challenge of collecting 8 badges before fighting the Elite Four. First is Luxdub from the Pokémon Mark. Our second encounter is this beautiful Fant Jr. in Route 1. I thought the first sprite was pretty good, but I did think the second sprite, so cute. Had to set that one as the main one. Beautiful sprite. In Route 22, we're going to grab a Crabby. With that, we enter into our first proper rival battle against the mighty Glue. So Glue will start off by sending out his Skarts, to which we will follow up by sending out Dave. We're going to use Rollout because I didn't check this thing's typing and it is not super effective, as they hit us with a Peck. Unfortunately, we locked into Rollout, so we have to go for another one, and the Skart sets up a double team, increasing its evasiveness. We go for another Rollout, getting it to just above half HP, as Skart starts using Leers to decrease our defense. Fortunately, we miss a Rollout, so we're no longer stuck into it, as we get hit by another Peck, getting us down to 18 HP. We use a Psybeam, getting it down quite low, as it Leers again to lower our defense. Another Psywave gets it down to really far in the red, as it decreases our accuracy. We go for another Psywave to get the KO, which allows Glue to bring in his ace, the Venosis. We hit it, go for another Psywave, but unfortunately we miss as we get hit by a Supersonic, confusing us. And with that, we miss another Psywave, as it makes us hittable to normal moves. And with that, we switch into Trevor. They go for a Tackle, but they can't affect us, fortunately, because of our Ghost typing, as we go for a Confuse Ray to make it less likely to hit us. It goes for a Foresight, making it so we can be affected by normal type moves, as we go for a Tackle to get some damage in. The Venosis instantly snaps out of his confusion and tries to confuse us, but fortunately we're immune to it, as another Confuse Ray comes out to confuse it. It goes for a Tackle, dealing us a decent amount of damage, as we go for another Tackle, getting it down a bit more. It snaps instantly back out of the confusion, as we tackle it again. It then disables our Tackle, making Trevor completely useless. So we go for a Copycat, to copy its disable to disable its disable, so that it can no longer disable our attacks, as we start to Copycat its Tackle as well, dealing a small amount of damage as it keeps tackling us too. We start trading blows for a while until I eventually decide that it's better case to just switch to someone else, so we switch in Steven. Steven tanks a Tackle like an absolute champ, and hits the Venosis with a bubble, getting it down really weak, before one more bubble manages to take it down. And with that we finish our first rival battle And it is time for us to get some more encounters. First, going over to the secret garden, we catch ourselves a Jolteria. And then an Elinch in the Viridian Forest. Up now to Route 3, managed to catch ourselves a Squirtish. And with that, it's time for our first gym leader, Brock, this time using Ghost types. Brock starts off by sending out a Hondskull, and we send out Dave. We'll go for a Confuse Ray to hopefully stop it from being able to hit us. Unfortunately, it hits itself. So we hit it with an Astonish, which is super effective to get it down really low, as it again hits itself in confusion. And with that, a second Astonish will take it down. And then Brock switches to a second Pokemon, which is a Carpet, to which we will Confuse Ray again. While Carpet is confused, he can still manage to attack through it, hitting us with a bubble for a decent amount of damage as we Astonish it for about a third of its life points. With that, another bubble gets us down to half, as we miss and Astonish, and then a third bubble gets us down to 11 HP, as we get it down really low. Concerned about our HP, we switch out into Ant, forgetting that ground is extremely weak to water. He goes for a cover, getting itself back up to almost full HP, as we go for a feint attack, cutting it down really low. The Carpet then uses a bubble, getting us down to 16 HP, as one final feint attack finally lets us finish this game. And with that, we finish our first gym. And we receive ourselves the Boulder Badge. Over in Mount Moon, we catch ourselves a Mailer. And then we decide to do some leveling before the Scientist battle. We managed to get Dave to level 16, which causes him to evolve into a Mizbarrel. And then fortunately we found a Moonstone early on, so we can evolve it again into a and I think it was called Mizbarrel again, I can't remember, man. And we can also get Squirt to evolve into a Washroom. Looks like Team Rocket is down up to no good again, with them trying to fuse what appears to be the 3 Rocket starters. Fortunately for us, it doesn't seem that the device is working, causing Rocket to flee. In Route 4, we get a Magisaur. Before leveling a bit more before Glue. First, Magic will evolve. Into another Magisaur. Before evolving again into a Gyarasaur. Ant will also be evolving. Back into another Electrap, and Mason will also be evolving into an Azumarill? Azumarill. Working our way up Nugget Bridge, we bump into Glue again, who challenges us to another rival battle. At the start of the battle, Glue sends in Litgar, as we start with Dave. Dave goes for a Confuse Ray, eventually. Confusing the Litgar, as a Litgar hits itself in confusion. Then we go for a water gun, getting the Litgar down to about half HP, as once again it hits itself. A second water gun manages to get the KO, and Glue will send in Ab Ninja. Quite concerned about the potential Wonder Guard of Ab Ninja, I decide to switch into Squirt. Squirt comes in, taking a hit from Ab Ninja, taking it down quite low, but triggering the effects wall to poison it, and the Ab Ninja goes down. Glue then sends in his Venosian, and we decide to go for a Leech Seed. Venosian hits back using a Psybeam, dealing a competent amount of damage as we heal a bit off with the Leech Seed. We go for a Bite, cutting it down a decent amount to about half HP, but a Psybeam comes down, cutting us down to 9. The Leech Seed gets us back up to 16 though, fortunately, as we go back in for another Bite, but Glue uses Super Potion to heal his Venosian back up. The Venosian gets cut down to about half HP again, due to a combination of Bite and Leech Seed, as we go for another Bite, finishing it off. Glue then sends in a Smeargle, as we decide to go for a Mega Drain. But before we could do that, the Smeargle sketches our Bite, so it now has access to it, as we Mega Drain, taking about a third of its HP. The Smeargle goes in for a Bubble Beam, doing negligible amounts of damage, but unfortunately decreasing our speed as we go in for a Leech Seed. The Smeargle goes for another Bubble Beam, doing us literally no damage as we Mega Drain, casting it down to the red. Smeargle goes for a Bite, dealing us still no damage as a Mega Drain finally manages to finish it off. And with that, we defeat Glue, and finally have access to crossing Nugget Bridge. But during that battle, our Squirt managed to get enough XP to evolve, turning into a Warloon. I forgot what Breloom was called. Man, I am not very smart. In Route 24, we catch ourselves a Pitar. And while travelling to the gym, our Trevor evolves into a... what's it? A Phantomine. And now we're against Misty, who this time is using Psychic-type Pokemon. The Misty starts with a Solobble as we send in Trevor. Trevor goes for a Leech Seed, getting us some chip damage and healing, as the Solobble goes for Charm, decreasing our attack. We decide to go for a Growth to try and counteract that Charm, as the Solobble goes for a Light Screen, protecting itself from special attacks. We go for another Growth, so we're now at a net neutral, as it hits us with a Hidden Power, doing an amount of damage. As a Leech Seed gets us almost back to full HP, the Solobble goes for Snatch, stealing our Growth to buff its own attack up, before we drain a bit more life point health with the Leech Seed. We do another Growth, getting us to a Nat +1. A Solobble hits us with a Hidden Power for a large amount of damage due to the power it has stolen from us. The Solobble snatches another Growth from us, as we leech a bit more of its life points, HP. And we finally attack it with a Feint Attack, one-shotting it. All that effort for just +1. A Wobblet comes in and we leech seed it. Before it uses counter to do nothing. Thanks, Wobbuffet. We hit it with a feint attack, doing a substantial amount of damage as it tries to counter, which it can't do because we're a ghost. So we hit it with another feint attack to take it down. And that gets us the Cascade Badge, as we have defeated Misty. Over on Route 5 we capture ourselves a Cotonto. On Route 6 we capture ourselves a Voltage. And on Route 11 we capture ourselves a Slabez. Great name, Slabez. Over on the boat we find ourselves doing a rival battle against Glue. Glue sends out a Duntal, as we send in Mason. Duntal goes for a yaw, making us tired as we hit it for about half its HP with an Orca-tail. Duntal then hits us with a Drill Run, as we miss a Play Rough. We then decide to switch into Squirt, where we eat another Drill Run. We go for a Mega Drain, dealing an alright amount of damage, as a Duntal hits us with another Drill Run. We trigger an Effect Spore, poisoning the Duntal, as Glue heals it up with a Super Potion as we hit it with another Mega Drain. Duntal's getting quite low now, and for some reason I decide to Leech Seed here, even though I'm pretty sure a Mega Drain would have just killed it, as we tank a Body Slam, getting us down to about half HP. But another Mega Drain lets us take the Duntal down. Glue then sends in a Kabupuff. And I decide to hit it with a Leech Seed. Kabupuff hits us with a Mud Shot, which slows us down a bit, as we start leeching some of its life. We go for a Mega Drain, dealing about half its HP, as Kabupuff hits us with another Mud Shot, slowing us down even more. We drain a bit more of its HP with a Leech Seed, before tanking another Mud Shot, as we finally take it down with a Mega Drain. Glue then sends in his ace, Venosian, and I decide. It hits us with a Side Beam, dealing us a ridiculous amount of damage as we miss a Leech Seed, before switching out and sending in Ant. Ant gets hit by a Signal Beam, doing about half of its HP. And for some reason I dare to risk leaving it in to try and get a Crunch KO, and it dies to the second, making this our first loss of the run. We then send in Trevor, which I don't know why I didn't switch in originally, because he resists everything that this thing has, and we Leech Seed the Venosian. Venosian then hits us with a Signal Beam, doing 0 damage, as I Leech Seed us. Leech Seed heals us it all back up. We then go for a Feint Attack, dealing about half of the Venosian's HP as we tank another Signal Beam. But unfortunately we become confused. Leech Seed heals off all the damage again, as we then hit ourselves in confusion. The Venosian then hits us with another Signal Beam, getting us down to about 40 HP, as we heal back up the majority of the damage we took that turn. And another Feint Attack allows us to take it down. Glue then sends in a Quinn up, which is adorable. I need this, I want this, I'm jealous. and I go for a side beam. As it hits us with an ember doing no damage. We decide to try and leech seed the Quinub, but we miss, again, before getting hit by a flame wheel, and seeding it the turn after getting hit by an ember, getting us down to 13 HP. At this point I'm getting a bit concerned about my Trevor's HP, so I decide to switch into magic. Magic comes in and just tanks an ember, it does nothing, before healing all the damage up with the seeds that we had prepped earlier. We go for a Razor Leaf, getting the Quinub down to the red. We use a Smoke Screen to lower our accuracy, and the Quinub then goes down to the Leech Seed. And with that we've defeated our rival, and we managed to get access to Cut, which allows us to challenge Sarge. And Sarge is using his ghost types. Sarge is going to start off by sending in Home Blade, and we're going to start off by sending in Squirt. We're going to start off by seeding the Home Blade to try and get some more cheap healing up in, as it goes for an Atomize to increase its speed. We go for a Bite, dealing a substantial amount of damage, getting the Honedge down to about half as it hits us with Retaliate, doing barely anything. We slap a bit more HP with the Leech Seed, before Sarge decides to use his first Super Potion, as we Bite again, getting the Home Blade back down to half. Another Super Potion comes in from Surge. He really wants to keep this thing alive, but we Bite it again, getting it back down to half. Another Bite comes in, which finally manages to finish it off, almost, but we take an Aerial Ace beforehand, until the Leech Seed tanks it down. Sarge then sends in a Dew Skull, and I'm a bit concerned about the flying type, so I decide to switch out into Kieran. Kieran's then going to tank a Pluck on the switch in, before hitting back with a Spark, doing the Dust Skull a lot of damage as it triggers its berry. And fortunately paralysing it as well. Sarge is then going to withdraw the Dew Skull, switching into Runeless. It hits a Spark, but it does next to no damage. It then hits me back with a Side Shock as I go for a Bite, dealing a large amount of damage. Concerned about Kieran dying here, I decide to switch into Magic, thinking that Magic was Water Grass. Magic is not Water Grass, Magic is Water Poison. Magic is now on 11 HP, but it's fine because Magic outspeeds, so we're going to go for a Bite to take down the Runeless. Magic does not outspeed, Magic dies. This is sad. Can we get an F in comments for the Magic? So I switch in Squirt, who manages to tank an Endeavour and take down the Runeless finally with a Bite. This was not a successful run. I liked Magic. Dew Skull comes back in. I forgot it existed, as we hit it with another Bite, taking it down. And with that, we defeat Sarge, and we get our Thunder Badge. Now, to replace Magic, we're going to bring in Sebastian, and as we do, Sebastian is first going to evolve. Sebastian first evolves into a Vigor Boss, before then evolving into a Vigor Tick. Before finally evolving into a... Why am I saying Snort? My brain goes Snorlax, not Snorlax. Into a Slatic. Slatic's typing isn't overly very good, and nor is its stats, so we're going to reverse it, getting ourselves a Milo King. Or Milo Queen, looking at that artwork. Squirt is also going to evolve here into a Blast Loom. Yes, that's the one. And Victor will also be evolving first into something bad without a sprite that no one cares about. Then to a Electro Blade, before finally evolving into an Electro Edge. Into Electro Slip. And Kieran also evolves into a Luxwine. Gonna get a few more encounters before catching this beautiful Pit V in Route 9. And this B-ish, it's something, in the Rock Tunnel. We're also going to capture a Muckern in Route 10. I'm never going to look at that thing again. It kind of just leaves here, and I'm not going to regret it. But at this point, we bump into Glue in a graveyard. Is he helping us mourn the loss of our Pokemon? No, he's trying to kill some more. Well, unfortunately for him, I'm super over leveled, so it'll be his Pokemon that do the dying. We're going to start off by sending in Mason and using Stealth Rock as it goes for a Venoshock, dealing us nothing. Nice one, Scholaris, which looks really cool, by the way. I'd love to have that. And I use Bulldoze, cutting it down to probably quite literally 1 HP as it goes for another Venoshock. At this point, Glue tries to heal it with a Super Potion, but that doesn't heal enough, and another Bulldoze just takes it straight down. Glue then sends in a Rhyone, which takes a bit of damage from the Stealth Rocks as we go for an Opera Tail, one-shotting it. Man, I love Okos. He then switches into a Mewbell, which is mildly terrifying. It's a Mewtwo, man. And we decide to go for a Play Rough as they set up a Future Sight. Play Rough does a substantial amount of damage, but me forgetting how Future Sight works decides to switch straight out into Sebastian, as the Mewbell goes for a Safeguard. Glue then gets a chance to use a Super Potion to heal up his Mewbell as we go for a Chip Away, casting it down low. And Future Sight finally comes in, doing not too bad damage, as Chip Away finally finishes off the Mewbell. Glue then sends in his final Pokemon, his ace, the Venosian. We go for a Chip Away, instantly killing it. Nice ace, Glue. With that, we defeat Glue, and then we hear screaming from the other side of the graveyard. It looks like this old man is getting kidnapped by Team Rocket. Disgusting. We realise that we can't go up there without the Sylph Scope, and so with Glue's help we go looking for Team Rocket in the local area. And on the way we catch ourselves a Hornrow. In Route 8, I had to check the notes. In Route 7 we catch a Torchony. In Route 16, we catch a Totneon. And finally, on the way there, in the Secret Forest, we capture ourselves a Korape. It's at that point we find Glue. He seems to have found the Team Rocket encampment and is bullying them out into running away in the sewers with his Gyarados. Turns out Mr. Fuji is the creator of the mighty Master Ball. Glue goes off looking into town to investigate more as Erica, the local gym leader, finds us. Turns out Erica's heard new rumours that Team Rocket has been living in the sewers, and she wants us to come and help her. And who can say no to Erica? With her aid, we managed to capture a Giratasso in the sewers. But unfortunately, she ran off and lost to the mighty Giovanni. We must avenge her. So when we battle Giovanni and he sends a Snorchrome, we start off with Sebastian. We go for a Water Pulse, dealing next to no damage, as the Snorchrome hits back with Giga Impact, cutting us down really low. We switch out Sebastian and switch in Kieran here, as the Snorchrome must recharge for a turn. We go for a Thunder Fang, dealing not really much damage, as the Snorchrome hits for a rollout for no damage. Fortunately, it's locked in now. We hit it with another Thunder Fang, which flinches it, as Giovanni heals it back up with a full potion. We Thunder Fang again, missing, and then miss again, as the Snorchrome goes for another rollout. We love missing here, but fortunately our luck's stacked, as we go for another Thunder Crunch, flinching, critting, and paralysing before doing the exact same thing again the next turn, taking the KO. Giovanni then sends in his Pinchant, which is really cool. I want one of these, as it hits us with a Storm Throw, doing a substantial amount of damage, as we hit it with an Icy Wind, doing nothing but lowering its speed. Realising that this isn't looking good, we switch into Trevor, who's fortunately immune to the attacks of the Pinchant. We'll go for a Will-O-Wisp, so half its offensive power, as it hits us with an X-Scissor for nothing, which is great. We then hit it once with a Psybeam. No, we then decide to go for a Growth to power up our Psybeam, as it hits us again with an X-Scissor for next to no damage. We then decide to go for a Psybeam, cutting it down quite low, as it hits us again with X-Scissor. The burn cuts it down to just a smidgen of HP, as we go for another Psybeam to finish it off. Giovanni's now on his final Pokemon, Execuchop, as we go for another Will-O-Wisp. Execuchop hits us with a Psychock, doing an alarming amount of damage, leaving us on just 8 HP. And with that, we're forced to switch out. Sending in Squirts probably wasn't a good idea, as it tanks a Confusion, losing about 35% of its HP. We hit it with an Aqua Tail, doing negligible amounts of damage, and it hits us again with a Psyshock, cutting us down to just 4. Why I kept in there, I do not know. But we switch out, sending in Mason. Mason easily tanks a Psyshock, as Execuchop drops down really low from the burn. Execuchop hits a Confusion, doing negligible amounts of damage, as a Play Rough manages to finish it off. Finally defeating Giovanni. Giovanni runs off with a tail between his legs, and we manage to claim the Steel Scope so we can finally go and help that old man. But in the process, first we get challenged by Erica. Realising that Erica is Bug type, I have nothing to deal with that, so I'm going to level up Gargle, so we can get some flying type coverage. Gargle first evolves into a Honro, and then I realise that the level cap is too low for me to get a Gengar, so I decide to evolve Peter into a Pikatar, and then again into a Pikatar, or a Pikesta, yeah, same thing, potato potato. And then I realise again, that's not its final form. I'm really good at this. So I decide to cover that with David. I then challenge the mighty Erica. I'm only able to use 3 Pokemon here, so I go for the 3 Pokemon that I just made. Erica starts off by sending in Forfish as we send in David. We start off by going for an Ancient Power, hitting for about 50% of its HP as Theraphon sets up its spikes. We go for another Ancient Power, managing to finish off the KO as Erica sends in her Pintera. This thing is terrifying and beautiful. I need one. I need a lot of these Pokemon. After deliberating for a bit, I decide to go for a freeze drive, cutting down the Pintera's HP really low. As the Pintera goes for a Storm Throw, cuts us down to 34 because it got a crit. Love crits. It goes for a Hyper Potion as we go for another freeze dry. And knowing that we outspeed, another freeze dry manages to cut it down. We are now faced with a Bruxer. A bit concerned about David, I decide to switch out and send in Gargle. Straight in our Psywave, which cuts us down to just below half. We go for a Roost because Psywave has variable damage, hoping that it can't deal us too much with the next attack, and I am correct. We set up another Roost, getting us to full HP, as we get hit by an Aqua Tail, leaving us on 9. 9 is not a lot, so we hit it with an Aerial Ace, realising that we're probably dead here. Gargle goes down, which is mighty unfortunate, because I was really looking forward to seeing what its final stage looks like, as we send in Peter. I know that Bruxer outspeeds everything here, so I just have to hope that Peter lives enough to get off a Nuzzle, but unfortunately he does not, and he goes down. We're in an awful spot here, a half HP of Bruxer, which I know outspeeds my David, who's on next to no HP. The Bruxer goes for an Aqua Tail, but fortunately it misses, which means we get to KO with a Discharge. If that thing hit, the run was over. And with that, we managed to defeat the gym leader, Erica, and we get ourselves the Rainbow Badge. After such a crushing loss there, it is time for us to rebuild our team. First evolving Trevor into this beautiful beast with awful typings. And so we must reverse it into a Mr. Evidence, which is horrifying. Do not show this to your children. And Mason will also be evolving here into his final form, Azumarill. Azumarill? Azumarill. Azumarill. We'll also be evolving Ace. Ace will first evolve into this spriteless monstrosity. I don't like it, it's terrifying. Before evolving again into this spriteless monstrosity. I don't like this. Please save me, that is terrifying. Before finally evolving again into this sprited masterpiece. A beautiful, beautiful Blaziken. We then go and help out Bill, who gives us a Ratrock. We then use the Silphscopes to travel the Pokemon Tower and catch ourselves a Togefisk. Once we get to the top, the kind old man gives us the Pokeflute, and hang on, that's not a Snorlax. On Route 14 we capture ourselves a Koofle. It's cute. On Route 13 an Abchop. On 15 a Maradilli. This thing looks sick. It's a shame that it sucks. This will not be seeing use. And with that, we come to the mighty electric type gym leader, Koga. Koga will start off by sending in Eliotto, as we send in Mason. We'll start off by setting up a Stealth Rock as they hit us with a Screech, lowering our defense significantly. They set up a Light Screen to reduce the special damage that we deal as we hit them with a Play Rough, which is physical, as Alotto gets burnt down to 1 HP. We get hit by Static though, giving us paralysis. As they go for a Super Potion. We then hit a High Roll on the next Play Rough, knocking out the Pidgeotto. Sunshoe then comes in and we realise this thing could have a Grass type move, and if it does, that dies, so we switch into Ace. As it sets up a sunny day? Thanks for the power boost, I guess. as we one-shot it with a blaze kick. But unfortunately the static comes out, paralysing Ace. Koga then sends in a Ryode, which is hailing Hitler for some reason, as we decide to switch out, sending in Trevor. The Ryode goes for a Stone Edge, missing our Trevor, as we go for a Will-O-Wisp. The Drill Run misses, Will-O-Wisp misses. Stone Edge misses, Will-O-Wisp misses. Drill Run finally hits us, and does a significant amount of damage, forcing us to use our berry. As Will-O-Wisp misses. Stone Edge hits us for a decent amount of damage, as Will-O-Wisp finally connects. Having no other choice here, we switch out into Mason. Ryode hits us with a Stone Edge, doing literally no damage. And it was a crit, so literally no damage. As we go for an Earthquake. The Rock Blast comes out, getting us down really low as we paralyze, so we don't get to use an Earthquake. Ryode misses a Stone Edge as we Earthquake again. There are misses everywhere this game, as Ryode finally goes down. Then Joltcario comes out. The Joltcario goes for a Pin Missile, which does more damage than a Stone Edge somehow, but still no damage. As we go for a Play Rough, missing. Who'd have seen that coming? As Joltcario goes for another Pin Missile, doing next to no damage, but getting us down to just above half. As Play Rough finally connects, casting the Joltcario down to the red. Joltcario then sets up an agility in an attempt to speed up the rate of which it dies, as Play Rough finally takes it down. After defeating Koga, our reward is the Soul Badge. On our way over to Silphgo, we head to the dojo. And while we're there, we have this interesting interaction between Dusknoir and David. First, Dusknoir confuses us, and to which we hit ourselves, and then he hits us with a Shadow Ball. We try to go for a second discharge and hit ourselves again, triggering our berry, as the Dusknoir hits us with another Shadow Ball. David goes for another discharge, and he can't hit himself again, right? 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 And David goes down. Good job, David. The dojo, fortunately, is feels quite bad for the situation they put us in, and they kindly give us a Lickitung, which we're totally going to use. To recoup our losses, we start leveling up Stan here. Stan is beautiful. We stand Stan. That's why his name is Stan. Evolving between the Abracadabra and Alakazam, the Machop, the Machamp, and the... Wait. Machamp. Man, we're over level 40 now, so fortunately we can get all the way up, so we're just working our way through all the evolutions before we finally get to the mighty Alakazam? Alakazam. As a thank you for clearing the Silphgo, we get a Zap Gun before bumping into Glue on our way to fight Giovanni. No, Glue's envious. Glue can't let us defeat Giovanni first, so first he sends out his Bandstill, and we send out Mason. First, Bandstill goes for an Embargo, turning off our items as we go for a Stealth Rock to negate as many switches as possible. Bandstill goes for a Shadow Ball, cutting us down to just above half as we go for an Earthquake. KOing Bandstill. Bandstill looks really cool. I can't say I'm not one of them. Then he sends out his Bulbacate. We can't stay in on this, it's a grass type, so we retreat and send out Ace. Fortunately dodging a Seed Bomb. Seed Bomb does no damage to Ace, as Ace goes for a Blaze Kick, taking the Bulbacate down. We get a Speed Boost from Speed Boost, as they send in Venosian. We go for another Blaze Kick, but we miss the Venosian as a Poison Fang comes down, being super effective and poisoning us. Speed Boost comes up, boosting our speed again as we go for a Blaze Kick, KOing the Venosian. We get hurt by the poison, cutting us HP down low, and we get forced to eat our Citrus Berry, triggering, and our Speed Boost goes up again. They send in Teddietta, which doesn't look like it's going to do too much damage. So we go for a Giga Drain to try and get our HP up a bit so we can try and outlive the poison. As Teddietta goes for a charm, lowering our defense. Lowering our attack, sorry. I can't read. We decide to stay in here, going for another Giga Drain to try and slowly chip away at Teddietta's life. As the Teddietta hits us with a Thrash. I didn't know it could know Thrash, and the poison kills us, and we lose Ace, and I really like Ace. But it's fine, we send in Vixer, we go for a Night Slash, and we one-shot the Teddietta. It's fine, I didn't need Ace. They send in Poriok, which is actually looks really cool, and we switch out into Mason. Poriok using Signal Beam, which does a decent amount of damage, forces us to eat our berry. As we go for an Earthquake next turn, taking the KO. And with that, we defeat Glue. Glue feels quite sorry for us, offers to kindly help us defeat Geo, who is torturing this poor man after his 3 Master Balls. Once we're against Giovanni, he sends out Arsect and Dragatini, and we send out Bandstill and Mason. The battle starts off good as Bandstill hits the Arsect for a quarter of its HP with a Shadow Ball, and the Dragatini goes for an Agility. We set up Stealth Rock to try and deal some damage to later switches in, as an Acid Spray comes our way, dealing next to no damage, but lowering our defense. Dragon Rush then comes in, hitting Mason, getting him down to just above half, as Bandstill turns off its items, and an Earthquake comes out, dealing a substantial amount of damage to all of them, killing the Bandstill, the Arsect, and getting the Dragatini down to the red. Giovanni then sends out B-Sharp, as Blue sends in Venosian. Dragatini goes for Agility, and B-Sharp goes for a Fell Stinger, almost one-shotting the Venosian. The Venosian uses Zen Headbutt to KO the Dragatini, as we use Earthquake, dealing a substantial amount of damage to B-Sharp, and unfortunately KOing the Venosian. Blue then sends in his Poriok, as Giovanni sends in Darkrion? Holy lord, I don't want to be on the receiving end of that, but I'm gonna be. He goes for a feint attack, dealing no damage to Mason. I was concerned for nothing, as Poriok goes for a discharge, doing no damage to us and no damage to them, but getting a paralysis on both of them. We go for an Earthquake, KOing the Poriok, but also cursing B-Sharp and Darkrion down to really low HP. Blue sends in his Teddietta. I hate that thing, as it goes for a Thrash on the B-Sharp, taking it down to 1 HP, as an Earthquake comes in, KOing all of them. I wish I KO'd the Teddietta too, little bitch. And Rocket runs off again with their tail between their legs. As a thank you, the old man kindly offers us a Master Ball as well as a Golesh, which we won't be using. And to make up for our lost soldier, we're going to decide to bring in Pippi. Pippi is first going to evolve into this beautiful, beautiful little bird doggo, before evolving again into another, slightly less little bird doggo. And while this bird doggo does look really good, it does evolve one more time into a slightly big, fairly beautiful bird doggo. Unfortunately though, for the bird doggo, we support trans rights here, so we're going to swap it around to get this absolutely amazing, and I'm not just talking about art style, I mean it's an amazing Pokemon. It's absolutely amazing. Cillion, which has a great name as well. The next gym fight we have is Sabrina with her Ice-type Pokemon, which seems like a great place to show the silliness of Pippi. They start off by sending out Lapgong as we send in Pippi. We're going to start off by setting up a Calm Mind going +1, as they set up a Safeguard. We set up a second Calm Mind going +2, as they go for an Ice Beam, dealing a negligible amount of damage. We go for a third Calm Mind, going +3. As another Ice Beam comes in, dealing still no damage. Our fourth Calm Mind gets us to +4. As another Ice Beam still does us no damage. With a fifth Calm Mind, you think we're ready to sweep, yet we aren't, as we get hit by a Brine doing no damage. As we finally getting our sixth Calm Mind, getting us to +6, as another Brine comes in doing no damage. And now you'd think with +6 we'd be able to one-shot with a Draining Kiss, but we couldn't. We could not, as Lapgon goes for a Safeguard. Lapgon gets healed up by a Super Potion as we use another Draining Kiss, a Max Potion, sorry. As another Max Potion comes in, getting wasted as we go for another Draining Kiss. And another Draining Kiss to take it down. Sabrina then sends in a Mammillary as we go for a Flash Cannon. It missed to do nothing, as Flash Cannon takes it down in one shot. Not even special effective. Super effective. Sabrina then sends in a Jinxian as we go for another Flash Cannon. It uses Fake Tears to lower our special defense, which you're not going to get to access, as Flash Cannon one-shots it. Sabrina sends in a final Pokemon, Ivy as it goes for a Solar Beam. It starts charging up as we one-shot it with a Flash Cannon. That was some really good choices there, Sabrina. You're really good at this. As we get the Marsh Badge as a reward. On Route 19, we capture a Zoomander. On Route 20, we capture a Belby. This thing has potential to be really strong. If I didn't have as many good Pokemon as I did this run, I might have used it. In the Seafoam Islands, we catch a Mimikba, which also looks sick. And in the Pokemon Mansion, we capture ourselves a Pikachu. And we let Blaine know while we're down there that it's time for us to challenge his gym. Now, Blaine's using Rock types in this randomized Nuzlock. And he'll start off by sending out a slow start as we start off with Mason. Yes, I know, Mason's a very common start for us. Stealth Rocks is really cool. Mason tanks a Psychic, getting him to just above HP as he sets up a Stealth Rock. We then decide to switch him out as he doesn't really have stab against this and go into Sebastian. The Slow Star sets up a nasty plot to boost its special attack as we hit it with a Chip Away, doing no damage. I don't know what I was thinking. The Slow Star then hits us with a Trump card, doing about a quarter of our health. Blaine then goes for a full restore as we smack it in the face with a Hydro Pump, getting it down to just above half. We then decide to go for a Yawn to try and put it to sleep as it misses a Swagger. Another Hydro Pump gets the Slow Star down to just 1 HP as another Trump card comes in, getting us just below half, which we heal up a bit using our Citrus Berry. And the Slow Star then dies. I'm assuming it had a Life Orb or something. Bane then sends in his next Pokemon, the Tyrant as we go for a Yawn to try and make it sleepy, as it hits us back with a Payback, setting us to just below half. We go for a Slack Off to heal us up to almost full, as a Dark Pulse comes in, getting us down to about 3/4. We use Hydro Pump, getting the Tyrant down to a small amount of HP as it heals up a bit using its berry. Well, a little bit. It heals up 10, it's an Orange Berry. As another Hydro Pump comes in to finish up and get the KO. Bane then sends in his Steepardos, and it takes a bit of damage from our stones. We go for a Yawn to put the Steepardos to sleep, as it hits us with a Stone Edge, cutting us down to just 50 HP. We go for a Slack Off to heal up, just to try and tank some of its blows, as it sets up a Sandstorm. Before finally falling asleep, we hit it with a final Hydro Pump, getting it down to the red, and popping its air balloon, taking a bit more damage from the Sandstorm, but fortunately it is still fast asleep. We use this opportunity to switch out into Mason, as Bane withdraws his Steepardos, going into Clefrock. We go for the Clefrock goes for a play rough, dealing us not much damage, but enough to trigger our berry. As we go for an Opera Tail, KOing it instantly. Blaine sends in his Steepardos. As it wakes up, hitting us with a double edge, doing a substantial amount of damage, but KOing itself in the process. With that, we defeat Gym Leader Blaine, giving us the Volcano Badge. On the offshore roads, we capture ourselves a Croconaw, and on the Kindle Road, we capture ourselves a Florb. And in Mount Ember, we capture ourselves a Magquill. I'm really excited about this. I love Typhlosion. I cannot wait to get this in the team. But first, Giovanni is putting his evil plot into fruition. He's got all 3 legendary birds, and he's planning on fusing them together. Unfortunately, he spots us and decides that we are the perfect opportunity to test his evilest of creations, the mighty Zapmolkuno. We start off by sending in Victor. This was his entire life's purpose. Victor, explode. Victor goes for explosion, doing a substantial amount of damage to the Articuno because it crit it, and not much damage to either of the other 2. That was really underwhelming. As we send in Kieran. Kieran goes for a discharge, KOing the Articuno, forcing out the Moltres' berry, the Zapdos' berry, and paralysing the Zapdos as well, before a flamethrower comes in, dealing us a little bit of damage. We go for another discharge, KOing the Moltres, as a light screen comes down for the Zapmolkuno, and a crunch can finish it off. And with that, the birds separate, fortunately, and Team Rocket decides to disband. Fortunately, I know where to capture the birds. Well, that's Moltres dead. Yeah, we might as well start prepping the new team. We're bringing in Tyson, as he evolves into this beautiful, beautiful sprite of a Quilava. Quilava's the middle version. A Maglava, as it evolves again into this beautiful Maglosion. That thing's going to be in our party probably the entirety of the rest of the run. I love Typhlosion. I can't see anything changing that as we evolve these Toots. I love Toots as well. Toots is great. Jolteon is kind of mid, but I do love Totodile. One of the best starter Pokemon. And unfortunately, its max evolution form did not have a sprite, so we just reversed it to get this beautiful, and I do mean beautiful, Joltegator. And well, I guess maybe Tyson can be replaced. He's not exactly that important, you know. It's not like nah, we don't need him. And we'll catch a Sweetstar on as our Zapdos encounter. And now it is time for us to take on Giovanni. Giovanni will send in Unblade, and will start off with Pippi. We'll start off by going for a Calm Mind as they go for a Last Resort, which you can't use that Unblade. You need to have run out of move. No, you can't use Last Resort. I just told you this. You're trying it 3 times in a row here. If it doesn't work the first time, it's not going to work if you try it again. Four times. Four Last Resorts. Giovanni, do you know how Pokemon works? Guard Swap. That's my defensive power, you bitch. As we set up a 5th Calm Mind. Mean Look comes in, stopping us from being able to escape as we set up our final Calm Mind. And then we go for a Draining Kiss, as Unblade tries to use its final Last Resort, which it still can't use. Giovanni, for some reason, is dead set on keeping this thing alive as we Draining Kiss it back down to the red. Another full restore comes out from Giovanni to keep up this useless Pokemon, as another Draining Kiss cuts it down to the red. He heals it up again, another Draining Kiss, before finally it goes for a Moonlight to heal itself up before we can take it down. I don't know what the IR was thinking with that one, as they send in Swamplume. This thing's adorable, I do love this. And goes for an Earthquake, dealing us an insane amount of damage as we have to heal up with our berry. But fortunately, our Draining Kiss one-shots it and puts us back at full HP. Giovanni then sends in a Horlido as I go for another Draining Kiss. But it hits us with a high jump kit, which does an insane amount of damage. But once again, we almost heat it completely all back off with the Draining Kiss. Draining Kiss is cracked. Giovanni then sends in a Copper Gloom as I go for another Draining Kiss, but it hits us first with a Shadow Ball, doing barely any damage. Good job, Copper Gloom. But it does unfortunately hit us with an Effect Spore, paralysing us. Giovanni then sends in his final Pokemon, his Blissey, and it Egg Bombs us, doing an actual amount of damage. What is this? As we Draining Kiss it, cutting it down to the red. One more Egg Bomb from the Blissey, doing literally nothing, and we get to take it down with another Draining Kiss. And with that, we get our 8th badge by taking down the mighty Giovanni, and we get the Earth badge. On our way to the Pokemon League, we run into Blue. He's really putting every effort to get in our way. Blue will start out by sending in a Chandelion, as we send in Mason. They'll use Confuse Ray to confuse us, and we all know how this goes. Mason hits himself. Chandelion then goes for a Hex, proccing our berry, as Mason hits himself. Chandelion then goes for a Smog, as Mason hits himself. And at this point, I've learned from my mistake, and I switch into Trevor. Chandelion hits with a Flame Burst, doing an amount of damage as we hit it with a Shadow Claw, cutting it down to the red. It then hits us with a Hex, KOing our Trevor. Sam, I bet you're surprised. I know you're watching. We then send in Mason as a Flame Burst cuts us down low, but we finally get up that Stealth Rock before switching back out and sending in Stan. We Stan. Stan will tank a Hex, taking him down quite low, as he goes for a knockoff, KOing the Chandelion. Dust Thorn is then going to come in, taking some damage from the spikes, as we hit it again with another knockoff, cutting it down to just above half. It's then they go for a mean look, locking us in, which is quite concerning. We go for another knockoff, cutting it down low, as a Hex brings us down to 50 HP. But fortunately, a third knockoff takes it down. Blue then sends in his Benosian, taking an insane amount of damage from the spikes, as a knockoff cuts it down to the red, and a Poison Fang comes out, taking Stan down to 30. As a Poison takes him down to 19. Bit concerning, so we're going to switch him out and send in Mike. Mike's going to come in, and as he does, he gets hit by a Poison Fang, poisoning him. Mike's then going to go for an Ice Beam, finishing off the Venosian. Blue is then going to send in a Drowkey. It's got a really funny sprite. Mike goes for an Ice Beam, cutting the Drowkey down into the red, as Mike gets hit by a Zen Headbutt. With the poison as well, it cuts him down really low, and he can no longer stay in, so unfortunately we're going to have to switch him out and send in Pippi. Pippi will tank a Zen Headbutt, and a second Zen Headbutt, which flinches it unfortunately, but fortunately it misses the next Zen Headbutt as we go for a Calm Mind. Another Zen Headbutt's going to come in, cutting us down to just above half, as we're going to set up another Calm Mind, hoping to be able to use this to deal with the next two Pokemon as well. Another Zen Headbutt's going to come in, just cutting us down just below half, so we're going to use our Berry to heal back up, as we set up another Calm Mind. Psychic's going to come in, doing no damage to Pippi, as we set up another Calm Mind, and at this point, I think I've lost track. So a Zen Headbutt's going to come in, putting us just above half, as a Draining Kiss is going to come out, taking down the Drowkey. And then Houndtails is going to come in. This is a bit concerning. It's Fire type with Steel, but it uses Embargo to just turn off items, which we already don't have, and a Scald will take it down. They then switch out into Savaltine, which is really funny. I love its eyes. And it will go for a Foul Play, dealing next to no damage. As a Draining Kiss is going to come out, one-shotting it. It did not need a crit. That is overkill. It is really mean. And to make up for the loss of Trevor, we are going to bring it in this here Pokemon. Craig is going to come in, and we're going to have to revert it into a Dusk Dial because it has way better type coverage, which I misread and gave it a Wonder Guard. But anyway, as for our team, we have Mason, the Azumarill, with Earthquake, Aqua Tail, Stealth Rock, and Play Rough. Toots, the Joltigator, with Scald, Discharge, Volt Switch, and Ice Beam. We have Pippi, the Silion, with Draining Kiss, Scald, Flash Cannon, and Calm Mind. We have Mike Tyson, the Relosian, with Eruption, Ice Beam, Thunderbolt, and Dragon Pulse. We have Stan, the Alachamp, with Dynamic Punch, Psychic, Knockoff, and Drain Punch. And finally we have Craig, the Dusk Dial, with Ice Punch, Crunch, Earthquake, and Shadow Claw. The first member of the Elite Four we're challenging is Lorelei with her Dragon-type Pokemon. Lorelei is going to start off by sending in her Butterburn, as we send in Mason. Get used to seeing that. Butterburn's going to set up Tailwing, boosting the speed of their team, as Mason is going to send out a Stealth Rock. Can't go wrong with a Stealth Rock. Butterburn is going to then Quiver Dance to buff up its stats, but unfortunately it didn't account for physical defense, and one Play Rough from Mason is going to take it down. Lorelei is then going to send in Garterra, and being a bit concerned about Grass type moves, we're going to switch out Mason and we're going to send in Mike. Why Mike? I don't know. I have immunity to Dragon type. I risked everything, but fortunately Lorelei is just going to use a Full Restore. A Dragon Rush from Garterra is going to bring Mike down to just 27 as a Dragon Pulse comes out, KOing it instantly. Lorelei is then going to send out Hexgron. While I am fairly certain that we outspeed, I'm not going to risk it, and I am going to switch back into Mason. Once again, not sure why I am not sending in Pippi. Mason is going to tank a Dragon Pulse as we go for a Play Rough, but before we get that Play Rough out, we're going to take another Dragon Pulse to the face, forcing us to use our Berry. The Play Rough is going to come out, dealing Hexagon a substantial amount of damage, but unfortunately not enough to kill it. Lorelei is then going to use a Full Restore to heal up our Hexagon as we go for another Play Rough, cutting it down to about a third HP left. It's then going to go for a Dragon Pulse, cutting Mason down quite low, as another Play Rough finally takes it out. Lorelei is then going to send out her Gouldra, which will take some damage from stones, and we're going to switch out Mason because it's just not worth it, and we finally realise that Pippi exists, and send it out into a close combat, dealing about a quarter of its HP. Another close combat's going to come out, cutting Pippi down to half, forcing the use of the Berry. As we go for a Draining Kiss, and with Goldra's -2 defense, special defense, he goes straight down. Lorelei is then going to send out our last Pokemon, Arcanine, to which we are going to switch out Pippi because we're concerned about the fire type and swap into Toots. And we are correct, tanking that fire thing. The Scald's going to come out, cutting Arcanine down to just a smidgen of HP, as its berry restores a bit of HP. And Extreme's going to come out from the Arcanine to cut Toots down to about 100, as a Scald finally takes it down. And with that, we defeat the first of the Elite Four. Next up is Bruno, the Fire-type trainer. Bruno's going to start off by sending in a thwack as we send out Mason. Fairly short Mason can sweep here, but we'll have to put that to the test in a second. A Lava Plume's going to come out doing a surprising amount of damage as we set up Stealth Rock, just to be followed up by a Flame Charge doing no damage. We hit it with an Aqua Tail, one-shotting it, forcing Bruno to send out his next Pokemon, Undash. This thing looks pretty cool. Undash is going to go for Hidden Power, cutting us down to about half as an Aqua Tail one-shots it. He's then going to send in his next Pokemon, Magcune, which he then instantly heals back up to full HP, but full HP isn't enough to survive an Earthquake from a huge power buff Mason, so he one-shot it. And it then swaps into Typhocott. This is a rubbing ace in our face. It goes for a Flamethrower, doing next to no damage, but still forcing out our berry, as we go for an Earthquake, getting it instantly. And then with the final Pokemon, Koffigmorsa. Not sure why we want to go for an Aqua Tail or an Earthquake, we decided to go with an Aqua Tail, which happens to be the right move, as we one-shot it. And if he'd used this earlier, Mason would have had to have switched out, because Mummy is not very cool. With that, we've defeated Bruno, and we're moving on to Agatha. And Agatha in this gen, well, not in this gen, in this run, is using Flying types. Agatha's going to start off by sending in Pidmey as we send in Mason. We're going to tank enough Air Slash, dealing us a surprising amount of damage as we set up a Stealth Rock. We decide to try and go for a Play Rough as we tank another Air Slash, forcing out our berry. Well, with the Play Rough doing barely any damage, we kind of decide that Mason isn't exactly the play here, and we switch out to Toots. Toots gets hit by an Air Slash, which does him next to no damage, as he goes for a Discharge. But first, Agatha uses her full restore. But the Discharge one-shots anyway, because Toots is the go. She then switches into a Flageote, taking half of its HP from the Stealth Rocks, which she then decides to try and heal off, as Discharge once again one-shots it. It might have been able to do some damage if you attacked with that one, because it probably outspared. He then sends out a Meow, and at this point I'm a bit concerned, because Mew is kind of strong. But another Discharge manages to take it straight down. The next Pokemon's a Honchkrow, which loses like all other Mon, lost a amount of HP for the Stealth Rocks, and another Discharge takes her down. She's now on to her final Pokemon, the Ninetales, which is on half HP from Stealth Rocks, and Discharge takes it straight down. And with that, we've defeated a third of the Elite Four, Agatha. And it's time we move on to the fourth, Lance, the Fairy Trainer. Now, Fairy's pretty cool. Lance starts off by sending out Toxwell, where we send out Mason. And I forgot to heal. So Mason's going to instantly heal some HP with a Citrus Berry, and he takes a small amount of damage from Liquidation. We manage to set up Stealth Rock before retreating Mason, because I just don't really want to risk it, and sending out Pippi. Poison Jab can't hit Pippi, which is one of the reasons why I sent it in, as we start setting up Calm Minds. There's one. As a Liquidation comes out, doing a surprising amount of damage, I'm not going to lie, and lowering our defense, making us weaker for a second one. We set up a second Calm Mind, as the Toxveil decides to go for Pin Missile, doing nothing but taking forever. I mean it. forever. After that, we decide to set up the third Calm Mine, at which point Toxville goes for another pin missile. You're not doing anything with that. We finally decide to go for a Draining Kiss, cutting it down to just above half HP, and healing ourselves up a bit as another pin missile comes out. Still doing nothing! It's not the play. Work out that the pin missile isn't working and try something else, man. You're supposed to be one of the Elite Four. We try a Flash Cannon one-shot into Toxville. Lance then sends out his Charbel, which is cute, and I probably should have been concerned because it could have gone for a Fire-type move, but I kind of wasn't. Especially not as I outspared with a Flash Cannon, instantly killing it. I didn't think I would, I'm not gonna lie. His next Pokemon is the Rose Q, which is sweet, but I know it doesn't have a Mimikyu's signature ability as it took damage, and it sends out a Giga Drain doing nothing, as a Flash Cannon comes out one-shotting it. The next Pokemon is Celevian. I was kind of concerned when I saw this, especially when I saw it outsped, but it went for a Future Sight, which does next to nothing, as a Flash Cannon comes out KOing it. Bringing Lance down to his final Pokemon, a Hivewa, which looks sick. Dragon Ghost is probably a really strong typing as it hits us for a Body Slam, doing a surprising amount of damage. We hit it with a Flash Cannon, taking it down. And with that, we defeat the Elite Four Lance. And typically, this would have meant we have won the Pokemon League, but unfortunately for us, someone got here first. Glue. Forever in our way. So we decide we'll take our revenge. We're gonna defeat Glue and murder all of his Pokemon like he's murdered ours. We're gonna start off by he's gonna send out Politic and we're gonna send in Mason. The Politic is gonna go for a bounce, which I know is gonna do no damage, so I set up a Stealth Rock. As the bounce comes down, I hit the Politic with an Earthquake, cutting it down to about a third life, as it heals up with a Mega Berry, which confuses it. But Glue doesn't like that and uses the full restore, as we go for an Earthquake, cutting it down really low again. Glue's going to go for another full restore, as another Earthquake comes out, cutting it down to the red this time. High roll, interesting. Still not much damage, but interesting. Another full restore comes down from Glue, and this time we hit it with another Earthquake, but it crits, and Politic goes down. Glue then sends out his next Pokemon, which is the Rainate, which we aren't really concerned about. Glue goes for a full restore, healing up the Rainate as we go for an Earthquake, cutting it down to just below half. Rainate is then going to hit us with a Dragon Pulse, doing a genuinely surprising amount of damage, triggering our berry. With that, we go for an Earthquake, taking it down. Glue then sends out his Flareon. And with Mason still in, I've come to the conclusion that Mason might be able to sweep here as a Lava Plume comes out, dealing him a significant amount of damage, and we go for an Aqua Tail. Glue then sends in Chartle, and I realise that my Mason Sweeping Dreams is over, so I switch him out, and I send in Mike to resist the Grass type move that's inevitably going to be coming in. Slash is normal type. I didn't have to switch, it wouldn't have KO'd. With Mike in, we get struck by a Fire Spin, doing no damage, but trapping us in a Fiery Vortex and stopping us from switching. But an Eruption comes out, one-shot in the Chartle, meaning we can switch again. With that, Glue's going to send in a Pallet and we outspeed this. So we go for an Eruption. But the Quick Claw triggers, meaning it gets to go first, and an Earth Power comes out, one-shotting Mike. Great. And with that, we decide to send in Craig. He hasn't done anything yet this run, so we might as well give him some time in the spotlight as he goes for an Earthquake, cutting the Pallet down low. A Shadow Ball comes out from the Pallet and it does no damage. We go for a second Earthquake, knocking out the Pallet. And Glue sends in his final Pokemon, his ace, the Binoculus. And with one final crunch, we defeat him and become the Pokemon champion. After becoming the champion, Oak comes to celebrate with... Well, originally he was coming to celebrate with Blue, but Blue is a disappointment. His words, not mine. And that is how I beat a randomized hardcore nuzlock of Pokemon Infinite Fusion. If you enjoyed this content, please like, subscribe, follow, comment, whatever people say, I don't care. And thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed. See ya.